We are in the middle of Kabbalat Shabbat prayer. We are up to chapter 96 of the book of Tehillim, Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz. Sing a new song to God, sing to God, all of the earth. Yesterday we looked at the Lichun Ranana, the 95th chapter, and in the 95th chapter is the idea of the Jewish people being God's people. And now in this chapter, we move from, we are going to go to a chapter that's about singing a new song to God. And this song is not just going to be a song of Bnei Israel, but we'll see over and over again, it's going to be a song of the entire world. The entire world is going to sing God's song, and that is perhaps a fresh song, a new song, something that hadn't been done. Word shir, obviously important, these first couple of verses. Shiru Ladonai Baruch Hu Shemo Basru Miyom Liyom Yeshuato. Sing to God, bless his name, bless his besorot, bless what he does, his salvations, bless them every single day. Sapru v'goyim kivodo b'cholamim niflootav. Declare his glory amongst the nations. Declare, let everybody know his wonders, all of the people. And there we have that transition, that movement. Last chapter, we're going to come out. We're going to greet you, God. We're not going to be like the generation in the Midbar who didn't follow you. We're going to come out and greet you. And now we've greeted you, but it's not just about us and you. It's about all of the nations together. Ki gadol Adonai u'melo ma'od. Norahu al kol Elohim. The God is great, and God should be praised. God is fear. God is above all other gods. And there we saw that in the last chapter, and then perhaps as well here because of the allusion to the other nations. Ki kol Elohei amim elilim, v'Adonai shamayim asa. For all the gods of the other people are idols, or we're saying God is the greatest of all the gods, but no. The other gods, that's just false. That's just idolatry. That's wood. That's stone. That's nothing real. But our God, the Lord, the single God, is the one that made the heavens. And thus, Hod v'hadar lefanavos v'tiferet b'mikdasho. Splendor and majesty are in front of him. Strength and glory are in his sanctuary. Right, we have these words that oftentimes come together, Hod and Hadar, about having reverence for God, and that there needs to be respect to God. That's the idea of who, and what God is. Continuing in verse 7, Havul Adonai mishpachot amim, Havul Adonai kavod va'oz. Give to God, give the Lord families, right, to all of the people. Give God glory and strength. Right, so everybody has to bring strength and glory. It can't just be the Jewish people. It's about all of humanity. And these words, we've had similar words in the 29th chapter. The Kabbalat Shabbat is chapters 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. And according to some, I think Sephardic tradition may also be 100, or it used to be 100. The Kabbalists in Sfad in the 16th century, they put Psalm, I believe it's 29, the one there. Mizmor LeDavid, Havul Hashem B'nei Elim, where we have similar verses here. That's why that one is used. Havul Hashem Kavod Va'os, Havul Hashem Kavod Shemo. Similar words that we have here. There's sort of a chiastic structure of 95 to 100. 95 is like 100, and 96 is like 90, is like 99, and 97 is like 98. There's a structure of these Mizmorei Tehillim that, according to some, we're saying together. They're all about praise. They're all about joy. They're about happiness. Continuing in verse 8, Havul Adonai Kvod Shemo, Se'u Mincha Uvo Lechatz Rotav. Give God the glory that is due to him. So bring an offering. Enter his courts, right? Giving God glory is not just about saying things, but you have to do. You have to go to his temple. You have to bring a sacrifice. Ishtach Havul Adonai B'Hadras Kodesh. Chilu mipanav kol haaretz. Bow down before God in all of the glory, in all of the hadar, the splendor of holiness, but also tremble before him, all of the earth. So this is a chapter that's much more about joy and happiness, but we know in Judaism we have a verse, Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, right? We should honor, not honor, we should serve God with joy, with happiness, like Shmuel. But there's also an idea, Gilu Birada. We also have to have a trembling. We have to understand that there has to be fear, there has to be awe, there has to be a little bit of trembling, of honor, of respect to God. It can't just be all joy and all happiness. There also, you have to have that tinge of respect. Hopefully, most of the times it's reflected through joy, but at times that fear is there. So tremble before him, all of the earth. Pasuk Yod, Imru v'agoyim Adonai malach, aftikon tevel bal timot yadin amim b'mei sharim. So say amongst the nations that God reigns the world, and that it's established all over the world, that God is controlling the world, and God is going to judge the people b'mei sharim, with equity, with fairness, with goodness. Okay, so the whole world is going to be established with God's rule, and that's going to be a rule that's going to be one that has equity, that has fairness, where everybody is judged the same way. Even though, right, this is Psalms, Tehillim of the Jewish people. This is our book. The last was about our relationship with God. But ultimately, if we're all singing the song, God will judge all the people with fairness. And now we're going to move back to more and more and more joy. Let the heavens rejoice. Let the earth be glad. Let the sea roar in all of its fullness. This roaring here is not the roaring of chasing away predators. It's sort of the joy as well, reflected through the roaring, through the breaking of the waves. Let the field be joyful. Let everything in the field, in the forest, in the field, be joyful. Let all of the trees of the forest sing the songs of God. Lifnei Adonai kiva lishbot haaretz, yishbot tevel b'tzedek be'amim be'emunato. And why should they be singing? This is sort of a coronation. Sing, and everybody's singing, and everybody's joyous, and everybody's making noise, because God is coming. Do it before God comes, because he's coming to judge the earth, and he will judge the world in righteousness, and the people through his emunah, with his faithfulness, with his truth. And just one thing here, this has a lot of similarities. We're a month before Rosh Hashanah, a lot of similarities to Malchiot, almost like proto-Malchiot. We're coronating God, and God is coming. And, we think of judgment as being scary, but think of a lawless world. Think of a world where nobody is in control, and nobody is in charge, and anarchy. And you want to have a judge. You want to have a king. You want to have somebody who creates order, and that there's not chaos. And so God's here, the promise of God and God's judgment and God's creation of the world, and God's is a world that's rooted in judgment, that's rooted in fairness. And as we said in this chapter, from 95 to 96, 95, the Jewish people, we're not going to be as we were in the past, wandering through the desert. We're going to go out and greet you, God. We're not going to not follow you. We're going to greet you. And here we move from 95 to 96 with this joyous psalm of not just us, but ultimately the whole world will be judged by God, and the world will see and recognize God's fairness and equity in judgment. And that will bring a great sense of satisfaction. And it's the Jews, it is all the other people, and it's everything else in creation as well. It's not just people. I don't know if I mentioned the animals, but it's right. It's the rivers, it's the mountains, it's the seas, it's the forest, the fields. Everyone will feel a great sense of satisfaction from God's judgment, and thus the chapter is full of joy and happiness.